Nora Speaks is a weekly podcast that tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, Nora Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I'm your host, Nora Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 172 of the Nora Speaks podcast, and I am your host, Nora Muhammad. It's a pleasure to be back with you for another great episode of the Nora Speaks podcast. And if this is your first time listening, I hope that after listening to this episode and being edified by the information that is shared with you, that you will become a subscriber of the podcast on whatever app you are using to listen to these words right now. I would like you to hit the subscribe button and then let your friends and family know about the Nora Speaks podcast. To those who are subscribers, thank you for coming back for another episode and hearing something that is worthy and something that will be beneficial to you as it has been beneficial to me. This year has been quite an interesting year for me. We just dipped our toe in the month of November. The month is just starting. And I want to share something with you some things with you that I have learned over the last year. It has certainly been an interesting year. I have experienced a lot. I have learned a lot. And learning, as we know, certainly can be catalyzed by some adversity and challenges. And I have had my share this year. And coming on the other side of it, coming through those adversities and those challenges, I've learned some things. And I want to share some of what I have learned this year with you. And so as I say, the title of this episode is on being misunderstood. And I don't think any of us like to be misunderstood. I don't think any of us like misunderstandings. We want people to know what it is that we think, that we desire, that we want. We want people to understand what our intentions are. And we know that either from personal conversations or interactions, or from interactions at a distance, or from observations at a distance, that there can be misunderstandings. And when I was a young child, I never liked to be misunderstood. I hated it. In fact, I never wanted people to misperceive or misinterpret my intentions, my thoughts, or my words. And perhaps that's why language is so important to me, and why it was so important to me to really help my children as I was raising them understand the proper use of words and language. And I always wanted them to be effective communicators because, if you want someone to know what it is that you think or want, then you're going to have to communicate in the way that's best to get that across. However, sometimes there is still misunderstandings. And I can recall times in my life when I would try at very great lengths to try to clear up misunderstandings or misrepresentations. I never wanted others to think something of me that wasn't true, especially if it was something that was negative, something negative that I may have thought about them or said about them. I never wanted to be someone to cause hardship or pain to others. And so, what it's like in high school or middle school, somebody said you said such and such, and like, oh, I didn't say that. It wasn't me. I didn't say it. And, as I've, matured through life, I've encountered so many other instances of misunderstandings. And especially when it's someone that I would hold in great esteem, or people who I held in great esteem. I would really do everything I can, and probably more than I needed to try to clarify things, to try to clear things up. Um, and there's just been so many instances of misunderstandings, and they can occur in your organization, they can occur at your office, where you work, with your family, and even with your greater community, your neighborhood. And for me, as a Muslim woman, and especially as a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I know that there has been great misunderstanding there. There is great misunderstanding on what I believe and what I think. And people have even said things to me like, oh, I know you don't believe in Jesus. And you just look and say, well, where did you get that idea? Where are you getting these assumptions or these beliefs about me? And misunderstanding can come that way. Misunderstandings have come to me through community service work or political work, and people may think things or have thought things about me that were untrue. And I've seen that it's not enough for me to just try to do good work and make great impacts in my community, in my neighborhood, that would demonstrate my character, that would demonstrate my belief, that may demonstrate my intentions. And I think it may be because we are so used to scandal. Some of us have seen so much scandal, or some of us engage in scandal, that we're just used to it. And so we think that other people must be selfish as well. Other people must be self-serving as well. And there must be some kind of hidden agenda. And when you're coming to people through your service with the greatest of intentions, with the best of intentions, to help others, it can rock you. It can really rock you. And I'll tell you that I have been very surprised about things that have been said about me in some dark corners. And I've been even more surprised or shocked at times at what people have believed. And, and I'm learning that that's just a part of this journey that we call life. And so I've learned some things about being misunderstood, and I want to share those things with you. I'm going to start with number 1, the 5 things that I've learned about being misunderstood. The first thing is that the way or the manner that other people perceive or interpret, it's a mix of whatever information they're processing, whether it's true or negative. It's a mix of the information and all of their experiences that they had prior to you or prior to me. And all of that contributes to how a person analyzes information. So if they get untrue information, if they get true information, if they get your praise, or if they get slander about you, if they get information that's supportive of you, if they get information that's critical of you, it is first processed through the filter of other people's experiences, other people's expectations, their personality traits, their general suspicions or a person's insecurities, betrayals, traumas. People process information through the filter of all of this. And I've learned that I can't compete with how a person was raised. I can't compete with how a person was taught how to think. And a person is a mashup of all of their experiences, their good, their bad, and how they have come to terms with the world. So it could be the case that lies and scandal can fulfill the expectation that a person has about you, or praise and honor can fulfill that expectation. But people are who they are made to be. And that's not something that I or you can change. Number two, I've learned that I am not so special, that I am off limits to being mistaken. No matter how dedicated I can be or you can be, no matter how well intended I can be or you can be, no matter how giving or selfless or loyal or committed that I can be or you can be, sometimes a person can just mistake you and misunderstand circumstances. I've learned that my virtues or your virtues, that doesn't make us exempt from being mistaken. And although no one wants to be mistaken, it is just what it is. It's an experience of life, and we have to accept it as part of life's reality and keep it moving. You know, I thought, wait, why would they think that about me? Well, and so then I questioned myself. Well, Nora, did you think you were so special that somebody wouldn't get you wrong like they've gotten others wrong? So no, I am not so special. I am not off limits, and neither are you. Number three, I've learned to tell the truth and just get out of the way. Once you or I realized that there is a misunderstanding of your character, of your integrity, of your actions, of your words, we can assess how much time, how much energy it's wise to invest to clear up the misunderstanding. Because sometimes it is just not worth the time and energy. Now, if it's important enough, you just be honest with the person or the group. You be forthcoming, try to communicate better, and then just get out of the way. Some people, and I'm sure you've experienced this, some people are open to having a conversation. Some people are open to meeting with understanding. Some people are open to receiving that. And some people are closed-minded. Some people would rather fall back to their own interpretations, even if they're wrong, even if you're telling them, no, that's not what I meant or that's not what I said. Some people are just going to fall back to that. They're going to dismiss whatever you're saying to clarify things. They're going to dismiss that. And so we have to know when it's best to invest our time and our energy in trying to clear things up, and understand when it's time to move on. And it is okay for us to just walk away without ever having resolved the issue. There's a saying, do the work and detach from the outcome. We may not change someone else's mind. And so we can't be attached to that or wedded to that. We can't wait for that person to have a mindset shift before we move on and keep doing the work that we're doing. You're not going to be able to change everyone's mind. So I've learned, just tell the truth and then get out of their way and just keep it moving. The fourth thing that I've learned that I should make clarity as the goal. Just try to achieve clarity. So if I'm making clarity as the goal is not soothing my ego. The goal is not soothing my disappointment at being misunderstood. The goal is not soothing my hurt feelings. I've learned that ego is a barrier, and if we are led by our ego, then our ego will become a hurdle if we're led by it. And I know it's not all about me. And you must know that it's not all about you. And sometimes people just misunderstand. However, if we make clarity as our goal, I think that can help us move through misunderstandings a lot better, because it's less selfish, it's less self-centered. It's about helping the other person achieve clarity. Now, whether we get them there or not, we can do our best, but we cannot be egotistical. We cannot lead with why me, because it's not about me. It's about trying to bring understanding to that other person and do our best doing so. And so then the fifth thing, I started off talking about communication. If we are misunderstood, if I am misunderstood, then I have to accept the fact that maybe I'm not as good a communicator as I thought. Maybe I failed in my messaging. Maybe I did not communicate as effectively as I should have to that person or to that greater or broader audience. Maybe I wasn't as transparent. Maybe you're not as transparent. Maybe there was something wrong with the messaging. And maybe the fault lies or sits right in our own lap because of our inability to communicate effectively. Now, I'll share something else as a bonus. We should give others the same grace that we want others to give us. So if we've been misunderstood and we don't like it, then we have to accept the fact that maybe we've misunderstood others as well. And that our own misunderstanding, that our own misinterpretation is also a mashup of our personality traits, our past experiences, and our present expectations. So the same grace that we want others to give us, then we have to give them the same grace, because we're not spared from misunderstanding other people. So I encourage you to always be generous, always give someone the benefit of the doubt, and not to expect the worst from people. So, it's challenging. I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces and, Pisces want to help, serve, and be of good use to other people. Maybe, that's why I, have taken misunderstandings to heart so many times. But I've learned that, they happen and that we have to move on from them. And, when you're thinking about if it's a personal interaction, your close friend, your spouse, a parent, your child, no one likes that. Or if you're thinking about your co-workers or employees, your colleagues, or a community of people that you're trying to serve, it's tough to be misunderstood. But what I do know is that people much greater than me have been misunderstood. And I know that it should not discourage the work that we do, the good that we have to give our people. We must keep moving forward. So as you are going in your journey and trying to serve people, work with people, and make positive impacts, remember, people are a mix of all of their experiences, and what they're getting is filtered through that. Remember that you and I are not so special to be off limits to being mistaken. It can happen to us too. Number 3, just tell the truth and get out of the way. We can't fix other people's perceptions or perspective. It is what it is, and we can do our best to communicate well and keep moving. Remember to make clarity the goal, not your ego, not your hurt feelings. It's not about me, or you. Let's make sure we're doing what we can to help other people come to the right conclusions, and not be so protective about your own ego or my own ego. And then remember, sometimes we may have had a fail with communication. It happens. We do our best, try to resolve it, but if we can't, we just keep moving and always give others the same grace that we want given to us. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the NeuroSpeaks podcast. Have there been times where you were misunderstood that really impacted you? What have you learned about being misunderstood? I'm interested in your feedback, your questions, your comments. I'm grateful to you as a listener, as a subscriber, as a supporter of the NeuroSpeaks podcast. I'm glad that you're with me this week. And until next week, stay in peace. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nora Speaks podcast. Be on the lookout for a new episode coming at you fresh next week. And as always, if you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, visit my website, noramahammed.com. Or if you have a listener question, email me at info@noraspeaks.com. You can also follow the Nora Speaks podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nora Speaks Podcast. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes. If this show has value to you, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with family and friends. And be sure to check out previous episodes. And remember, don't just join the movement, be the movement. Stay in peace.